Happening now on Grid tonight, we have a special show previewing the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series Championship Fork, and John Hunter Nemechek finished off a dominant year. Photo taken by Getty Images photographer Brian Loudermilk. Some races in World Rally Championship and MotoGP won't be competing in their next scheduled event. Find out who they are and why they'll be out. We'll also take a look at the four drivers fighting for the NASCAR Xfinity Series title. Can Austin Cindric make it two in a row and go back to back? Photo taken by Getty Images photographer Garrett C. Tilton. Hello to all our viewers watching here in the United States and around the world. Welcome to Grid Tonight, your weekly motorsports news program. I'm Kobe Lambeth from the Podium Finish, and with me, as always, Adam Lemerise. Please feel free to comment in the chat room below, ask any questions you may have, and engage in the discussion. And let's kick off our Championship 4 special, starting with the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. And last Saturday's NASCAR Camping World Truck Series cutoff race in Martinsville Speedway was very chaotic. Junior Joyner, Trip Bruce, both of them needed to be separated on pit road post race. And we also saw Parker Kligerman paying Johnny Sauter back from earlier contact in that race. And the regular season champion, John Hunter Nemechek, crashed out of the race after making contact with Austin Mansell. Stressful times for the Kyle Busch Motorsports driver watching the final stage, but ended up advancing to the championship 4 anyways. And one driver who didn't advance was the defending series champion, Sheldon Creed, as he came up short as his GMS racing teammate, Zane Smith, won at Martinsville, punching his ticket to the championship 4 and going to race for a title. And if you watched our Grid One Shining Moment segment on Sunday night, I was talking about Zane, talking about after he won that race that he doesn't have a ride lined up for next year. And most drivers usually have an idea of what they're doing next year by this point, and already making some preparations for the new racing season. Looking at Zane's season, Martinsville was his only win of the year, though he's been very consistent for the most part. A lot of top 10 finishes. Adam, how would winning this Truck Series championship mean for Zane Smith's career, given his uncertain NASCAR future?
Oh, I think it'd be huge for him. If he were to win the Camping World Truck Series championship on Friday at Phoenix Raceway in Arizona, if I was a team owner, yeah, I'd go get him. I mean, it'd be kind of silly if you didn't have the champion from last year not competing in the camping. It'd be silly if it was to be the champion and didn't compete in the Camping World Truck Series in 2022. It'd be a shame. He's had a really strong year this year, and the only one came at Martinsville Speedway. Yeah, he has a really good team behind him. So I believe Zane Smith will be a top contender Friday night in the Valley of the Sun in Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah, I think a championship would be huge for Zane Smith's uncertain NASCAR future. And yes, I know you'll have to have sponsorship and all of that in place, but going out there winning the championship, I think that would send a strong statement. We already know Zane Smith is a young, talented driver, and he certainly proves that he deserves to be out there in good equipment, competing for wins and championships like he's doing right now. I know it must be really frustrating and nerve-wracking for a young driver of his caliber, knowing that you have the talent, that you already proved you belong here, but I don't have anything on paper right now where I'm going to be racing next year. I'm pretty sure if Zane Smith goes out here, wins this championship, he'll definitely be able to find something for next year. And that win at Martinsville came in clutch, and this weekend, in just 2 nights under the lights at Phoenix, Zane Smith's gonna have to really come in clutch, even bigger than what he did at Martinsville Speedway. And like Smith, Ben Rose is in the championship 4. He won the first 2 races of the year at the Daytona Oval and Daytona Road Course. Since then, Rose hasn't won a race, but the consistency is still there. This is his first time in the Truck Series Championship 4, and he won the 2014 NASCAR Can-Am Pro Series East title 7 years ago. His best finish at Phoenix is 4th in 2019. His Store Sport racing teammate, on the other hand, the 3-time Truck Series champion, Matt Crafton, returns to fight for his 4th title. in 2019, Crafton infamously won his third championship without winning a single race in a championship style playoff format where winning races means everything. But Crafton's consistency helped carry him to the title that year. Once again, Crafton there's the championship four without a race win this year. However, good consistency. He could walk away with the trophy again as a winless champion. Do you see the championship coming home to Thor Sport Racing?
Yes, I do. And I'm surprised Matt Crafton has not won this year. You take a look at his stats on the screen. Very, very successful driver overall. He's one. You could say he's been in the series longer than a lot of drivers have right now. And Ben Rhodes, I'm surprised he hasn't won a truck race since the Daytona Road Course, even though he's been very successful all season long. So yeah, I could see the championship going to Thor Sport Racing. Both Ben Rhodes and Matt Crafton have a strong presence and should be very competitive Friday night in Phoenix, Arizona.
Yes, I'm expecting Thor Sport to be very competitive as well. I'm gonna say my championship pick for a little later in the show, but I do not think the championship's gonna go to Thor Sport Racing. But it's certainly possible that we could see Ben Rose or Matt Crafton win the championship because just like the other two, John Hunter and Nemechek, Zane Smith, they all have an equal chance of bringing home the trophy. And with this playoff format, I know in all the other series on if you watch our previous grid programs, we always like to say does the driver have one hand on the trophy leading coming into the finale? Says all the drivers are all the four drivers in championship four have the same chance of winning the championship. It's really hard to say that this driver has the one hand on the trophy over this driver. I think it's going to be a really intense season finale for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. And it would really be something if Matt Crafton is able to go out on top, win the championship, and be a winless champion once again. That would definitely be a feat that no other driver has would have ever accomplished if he's a two-time winless champion. And last but not least, the most dominant Truck Series regular this year, John Hunter Nemechek. A lot of people criticized John Hunter when he made the decision to exit the Cup Series after a single season to reset his career in trucks, driving competitive equipment. And as we end the 2021 season, he's making all of those critics look really silly. As he stated, he wants to be competitive, fight for wins and championships, regardless of the series, whether it's Cup, Xfinity, or trucks. Nemechek has 5 wins this year, highly consistent. Some bad luck in the playoffs, hasn't won a race since Pocono in June, but still likely the favorite to bring home the hardware. Considering his strong performance throughout the season, would John Hunter Nemechek's season be considered a disappointment if he doesn't win the championship?
Yes, I do. You know, you take a look at his last name, Nemechek. You think back to his father, former Xfinity Series champion, Joe Nemechek. So, yeah, you talked about he has 5 wins this year. John Hunter does. Driving for Kyle Busch Motorsports. Overall strong team in the Truck Series this year. Yeah, it would be a real disappointment for him if he doesn't bring home it'd be a disappointment for him if he didn't bring home the Camping World Truck Series Championship Friday night in the Valley of the Sun.
Yes, it would be quite a disappointment for John Hunter Nemechek and that number 4 Kyle Busch Motorsports team if they're not able to bring home the championship at the end of the day. But I think regardless of the result, that team should be really proud of what they've been able to accomplish this season. In recent years, Kyle Busch Motorsports hasn't performed to the same level that we've seen in the past. Have young drivers come in and leave. It's been like a revolving door in the last couple of years with drivers not being able to get the job done. Then John Hunter Nemechek gets in that 4 car this year, and all of a sudden it's like a rebirth of Kyle Busch Motorsports. So I think at the end of the day, championship or not, Kyle Busch, the team owner, has to be very happy to see his trucks out there competing for race wins and championships on a regular basis. Once again, and also one other good thing for John Hunter Nemechek, if he's not able to secure the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series championship on Friday night, he gets to try it again in 2022 because because he re-signed with KBM to drive that number 4 Toyota Tundra another season. And we'll talk about the NASCAR Xfinity Series program later, the NASCAR Xfinity Series Championship 4 later in the program. But be sure to watch the Truck Series season finale on Friday night. FS1 coverage beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern Time.
It'll be a real strong championship, so make sure you tune in. And now for some MotoGP and WRC news. Marc Marquez won't be competing this weekend at the MotoGP race in Portimao, Portugal. He was participating in an off-road turning session, crashed, and had a concussion. After feeling up to par, his doctors insisted that he sit out this racing weekend. We at GRIDnet want to wish Marc Marquez a speedy recovery and hope that he can race at Valencia, Spain the following week. And looking at some news from the World Rally Championship, driver Ott Tänak's 2021 season comes to an early halt. Tänak will not be competing at the season finale in Rally Monza. It was a tough decision for him to withdraw from the race. The reason is he'll be dealing with some personal family matters. And next, here's Kobe with some news about the Detroit Grand Prix moving from Belle Isle Park to the city streets.
On a past episode of Grid Tonight, we discussed the Detroit City Council considering a move with the Detroit Grand Prix from Belle Isle Park to the streets of downtown Detroit. And today, it was made official from in 2022. That'll be the final year for IndyCar and the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship racing on the Belle Isle Park. And starting in 2023, the race weekend moves to downtown Detroit after getting approval from the Detroit City Council. I'm looking at the statement right here on the screen. They said they spent time listening to the locals and collecting information that was received with positive feedback. Detroit Grand Prix organizers believe that relocating the race to the downtown area will benefit the entire city of Detroit as a whole. You can catch the final race at Belle Isle Park on June 3rd through 5th in 2022 before a new tradition begins on the downtown streets in the Motor City. Now onto the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Entering Martinsville, Noah Gragson had the must-win mentality after getting caught up in a wreck at Kansas Speedway. Gragson held on, won that grandfather clock, or as he once called when he won the truck race there, a granddaddy watch. And Gragson did his signature fence climb, even shotgunned a beer given to him by a fan. But the main thing is, he's on to the championship 4. Last year, although he wasn't in contention for the title, he finished runner-up at Phoenix in the race to the defending series champion, Austin Cindric, who had to go out and win that race. Gragson had a rough start to this year. A lot of inconsistency, got caught up in some accidents. Then he got better as the year went on and carried a lot of momentum right now into the championship 4. Knowing that he's returning to Xfinity full-time next year with JR Motorsport, does this allow Noah Gragson to feel less pressure racing for a title, since we all know he'll have another shot at it in 2022?
Yeah, Noah Gragson has a real strong presence, on Saturday night. He will be a contender for the Xfinity Series Championship, and he has a really great owner behind him in Dale Earnhardt Jr. And if even though Noah Gragson doesn't win the championship this year, he will be a strong favorite in 2022 to claim the Xfinity Series Championship. If you already give him odds right now, you could probably give him odds at 3 to 5. He's a very his team has been strong all season long, really consistent. So Noah Gragson has a really strong potential to hoist the Xfinity Series Championship Saturday night in Phoenix.
I think if we're looking at the aspect that he already knows what he's doing for next year, I think yes, there's less pressure there. It's not like he's Zane Smith who's driving for a job next year, wherever that may be. But regardless, racing for a championship, I still think there's going to be a lot of pressure for Noah Gragson to get it done. I know he's been in NASCAR Xfinity Series competition for several seasons now, and since he's been in Xfinity, you've seen drivers he's been competing against move on up to the NASCAR Cup Series. But Noah Gragson, he's still in Xfinity competition, haven't been able to move up to Cup quite yet. And winning this championship, I think would send a strong statement to all of his competitors that I deserve to be in the Cup Series too someday with all of the drivers that I've been racing against in the last several years. So I think Noah Gragson's really going to be motivated. He's gonna carry the momentum from Martinsville into Phoenix, and we'll see if he can go out on top and win that NASCAR Series championship. If not, there's always next year. And next, we're gonna talk about a driver who's really earned a nickname as NASCAR's bridesmaid, and that driver is Daniel Hemrick, who's currently tied with Dale Jarrett with 10 second place finishes before winning a race, the most in Xfinity history. Winning a race has honestly been Hemrick's Achilles heel throughout his NASCAR career. There'll be a race, he'll run extremely well. It seems like the race is truly in his control, in his hands. Then something happens which prevents him from winning, whether it's a crash or a late race caution or even a mistake on pit road. It seems like there's always something that prevents Daniel Hemrick from winning a race. And traditionally, if you want to be champion with this format, you really probably surely need to win the season finale. However, as we talked about earlier, Matt Crafton was a winless champion under the current playoff format. Hemrick definitely has the speed to win, but still hasn't been able to seal the deal, get the complete race, and take home that long awaited checkered flag. Will the 2021 Xfinity Series champion likely have to win the race? And could Daniel Hemrick pull a Matt Crafton and be a winless champion?
Yeah, Daniel Hemrick could pull Matt Crafton. I think if I'm surprised Hemrick has not won a race this season. You talk about he has 10 second place finishes, tied with NASCAR Hall of Famer Dale Jarrett. And I think if you want to win the Xfinity Series Championship this year, I believe you will have to win Saturday night's race at Phoenix. Daniel Hemrick has had a strong year this year, so I believe Daniel Hemrick could pull a Matt Crafton and win the championship. It's a long shot, but like I've said in the past here on the show, and everybody knows this, anything can happen, will happen, and sometimes usually does happen.
Yes, it would certainly be something if Daniel Hemrick goes out there and wins the championship without actually winning a race. And I think it's certainly possible because we also have the Owners' Championship up for stakes, and that Joe Gibbs racing number 54 Toyota Supras in the running for the Owners' Championship. And the guy who drove that car last, really dominant, John Hunter Nemechek at Texas Motor Speedway. He was absolutely on rails of that race, and nobody could touch that number 54. And if we expect to see something similar at Phoenix, maybe John Hunter Nemechek might be one of the top favorites to win the race and bring home the Owners Championship to Joe Gibbs Racing. And if Nemechek's up front wins the race, all Daniel Hemrick would have to do once again finish second, and he's the NASCAR Xfinity Series champion. And Hemrick has definitely shown a lot of speed in that car this year. So I think he certainly has a good shot to do it. And if he's finally able to break the bridesmaid label, get that first win, I'm sure there's going to be a massive party because he's waited so long for that. So many times he's been in position to win, it slipped away so many times. And if he's able to finally seal the deal at the right time, coming in clutch, that would be a massive victory for Daniel Hamrick, and I'm sure all the fans who watched him growing up, racing in person, will be expecting him to do a Carl Edwards style backflip, and I'm sure a lot of NASCAR fans would get a lot of nostalgia thinking about Carl Edwards if they see that moment. And next, moving on to the 2021 regular season champion, AJ Allmendinger, who won that in dramatic fashion, making contact with Austin Cindric. Both of them sliding across the finish line, I reckon, coming to the checkered flag. This is Allmendinger's first full season racing in Xfinity. We've really witnessed a rebirth of his NASCAR career. Less demanding racing in Xfinity to schedule and Cup, competitive equipment. AJ is really having fun in NASCAR again, getting wins at Las Vegas, Mid Ohio, Michigan, Bristol, and the Charlotte Roval. The Dinger has quite a diverse background and lots of accomplishments. He's raced in won races in Champ Car competition, an impressive run for Team Penske in the 2013 Indianapolis 500. If that seatbelt hadn't come undone, who knows what could have happened with AJ Allmendinger. And he is also overall Rolex 24 Daytona race winner with Mike Shank's operation. Would winning the Xfinity title, what would winning the Xfinity title mean for AJ Allmendinger's legacy?
Oh, it'd be huge. You just talked about his accomplishments. He was very successful in Champ Car. He's won the Rolex 24 Hours of Daytona with Mike Shank Racing. Very impressive sports car team. Um, I think it'd do huge numbers for him overall, and I think it'd be kind of cool to see the Dinger win the Xfinity Series championship. Like you mentioned, Kobe, he won the regular season championship, so why not go for the double? Win regular season as well as the Xfinity Series championship. It'd be a huge accomplishment for him, and hey, I think it'd be really cool overall in motorsports and overall in motorsports.
Yeah, I think that would be really cool for AJ Allmendinger to go out there and win a NASCAR championship. And I know AJ has had the reputation over the years of being a road course racer, but AJ's really improved his form, and AJ Allmendinger is really an all around driver. I just listened to all the wins he had. He won a mile and a half at Vegas. He won two road course races at Mid Ohio, the Charlotte Roval, on the short track at Bristol, and then the 2 mile super speedway at Michigan International Speedway. So AJ Allmendinger knows how to get it done on all kinds of tracks. Really diverse resume right there. Everything he's accomplished over the years, and winning the Xfinity title. Oh man, I know AJ. Matt Collett, Chris Rice. It's going to be a Collett party, a big Collett party after the race if he's able to bring them home a NASCAR Xfinity Series championship. And finally, let's discuss the driver who's looking to win back-to-back Xfinity championships, and that driver is Austin Cindric. Just like last year, Cindric's having an amazing season. Him and AJ Allmendinger went at it back and forth during the regular season. Both drivers still looking to be the class of the field, likely early championship favorites. Last weekend at Martinsville with Noah Gragson won, Cindric got up to the nine, side by side, racing for a win. He raced Gragson clean and did not rough him up at all. However, if both drivers are side by side on the last lap entering the final turn at Phoenix, I can guarantee you at least one driver is getting shoved out of the way with respect going out the window and a mentality of whatever it takes to win a championship in NASCAR. This is Cindric's last chance to win an Xfinity title because he's moving to Team Penske's NASCAR Cup Series program in 2022, replacing Brad Keselowski in that number two Ford Mustang. Did Cindric make the right move racing Noah Gragson clean for the win last weekend? And do you think Cindric is the favorite to repeat as champion?
Of course. I believe odds now for Cindric have to be 1-9. Uh, like I said, Kobe is the favorite to go back to back. Yet I'm sort of glad that Austin Cindric raced Noah Gragson clean last Saturday at Martinsville. Austin Cindric has been so strong all year long, and I know he wants that championship really, really badly because, like you mentioned, he's going over to the number 2 Ford Mustang for Team Penske, replacing Brad Keselowski. You don't think Austin Cindric's going to go all out and try to get that trophy Saturday night in Phoenix? Yeah, Austin Cindric has to be the current favorite right now to go back to back in the NASCAR Xfinity Series.
I think the move last weekend at Martinsville on the final lap was really smart for Austin Cindric going into a championship race. You don't want to make any new enemies because it could really end up biting you in the end. And at that point, Austin Cindric was locked into the championship four anyway on points, so there was really no need for him to force the issue there. Yes, as a race car driver, we all know that he probably wanted to win that race, but on that last lap, he was thinking big picture, and the big picture is that I don't need to rough Noah Gragson up. I'd understand it if Austin Cindric needed to win to advance, then I guess that's fair game because of the current system where you win and you advance. So I would have understood it under those circumstances, but Austin definitely feel like he made the right move, raced Gragson clean because if he had taken out Noah Gragson, sent him spinning around, or caused a wreck at the end of the race, which took out other competitors, that would have left a target on his back this weekend at Phoenix. So if he's trying to pass somebody, pass a lap car, pass someone for position, they might make it really hard for him to overtake, and that's something you don't want. Or somebody who's out there looking for revenge, and you definitely want to make sure that you have a really short list of enemies going into a championship race. And I feel like Austin's definitely done that so far this season. And I do believe he's certainly one of the top favorites to repeat as champion. One final race in this number 22 Xfinity car, go out as a two-time NASCAR Xfinity Series champion, and then you can focus for what's coming next year because it's going to be a tough one for Austin. Despite all the success we've seen in Xfinity Series, the jump to Xfinity Cup is a big one. I'm sure it's going to be quite a learning curve for Austin Cindric next year as he begins his first full season on NASCAR Cup Series competition in 2022. And be sure to let us know down in the comment section below. Make a prediction. Who wins the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series and the NASCAR Xfinity Series Championship? And coverage of the Xfinity Series season finale begins at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on NBCSN.
And before we do our pick a winner, I have some Ripco Supercars news for all of you. Matt Stone Racing has announced that their Dunlop Super 2 driver, Jaden Ojeda, will competing alongside Zane Goddard at the 2021 Repco Bathurst 1000. Last year, Ojeda made his debut in the Great Race, driving a wildcard entry for Gary Rogers Motorsports. And Jaden Ojeda is really happy to be competing alongside Zane this year. So we'll see how they do in the number 35 yellow cover ZB Commodore. It'll be a wet weekend at Sydney Motorsports Park. Also, it'll be a historical one as well. Because this weekend will mark the first time that the Repco Supercar Series will be having a race on a Sunday night. Normally, they've had races on Friday nights and Saturday nights, so pretty cool. And some more news. Red Bull Ampol Racing, also known as AAA Race Engineering, will be making their 250th start in the Repco Supercars Championship. They made their debut at the 2003 Sandown 500 at Sandown International Raceway. And active starts, it marks them 5th overall. And we all know who the drivers are. James Van Gisbergen, who has a significant lead in the Repco Supercar Championship, and his teammate, the outgoing 7-time champion, Jamie Whincup. with that being said, it's time that Kobe and I make our picks. First up, race 1 under the lights, early Saturday morning at Xfinity Motorsports Park in Australia. Kobe, it'll be a wet one down under in Australia. Who do you choose for as race 1 winner?
Oh, this is a tough one after last week because I didn't expect to see Antoine De Pasquale win two out of three races. But I know, Adam, before we went on air, you were telling me about that rain being on the forecast, and we know Shane Van Gisbergen is a really solid racer in the rain. So I guess I'm gonna go out on a limb. Well, not really, because he's really been the only driver that I've been picking for these races. Thanks, Shane Van Gisbergen, get it done in race 1.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you, Kobe. SVG has been really solid in the rain. We saw what he did at Sandown International Raceway earlier in the year, and it always rains there. So he has a good shot to not only win race 1, but to sweep the entire weekend. And now we head to the Valley of the Sun, where it's time we make our picks for the Camping World Truck Series and Xfinity Series. I'll start with you, Kobe. Who takes home the 2021 NASCAR Camping World Truck Series Championship Friday night?
Well, I think the champion of the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series is going to be the driver who's been the strongest all season, and he's also the regular season champion. I think John Hunter and Nemechek, that 4 team, gonna get the job done. I know things haven't really gone that well for him lately, but I think that 4 team, they're gonna bring their best piece of the season, and they're gonna run a complete race. They're gonna get it right. I think they're gonna win the race itself, and also the championship, and it's going to be a big celebration for John Hunter Nemechek. You can see right there, there's the stats on the screen.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you. And for those of you who don't know, there will be practice and qualifier for all 3 NASCAR series this weekend in Phoenix. So it'll be interesting to see where John Hunter Nemechek starts. And I'm going to agree with my colleague. I'm going to say that John Hunter Nemechek brings home the championship trophy back home to Kyle Busch Motorsports Friday night. Very strong season all year long, so why not? I'm going with JHM, the number 4 Kyle Busch Motorsports Toyota Tundra to win the Camping World Truck Series Championship Friday night. And now it's time we move to Saturday, where the NASCAR Xfinity Series will hold their season finale. Kobe, who takes home the NASCAR Xfinity Series Championship at the Valley of the Sun on Saturday?
Oh wow, I think this one is the toughest to pick a championship because I really think all 4 drivers have impressive resumes and are more than capable of winning the championship. Noah Gragson carrying the momentum from last weekend at Martinsville. If you get hot at the right time, you can keep on rolling into victory lane and as a NASCAR champion. Daniel Hemrick, although he hasn't won a race, and traditionally the champion is usually the winner of the final race. Mentioned that number 54, John Hunter Nemechek in the Xfinity race, going for the owners championship, and if he puts the smackdown on the field like he did at Texas, then all Daniel Hemrick would have to do is finish second, which is something that he's grown very accustomed to, and that would be enough for him to win the NASCAR championship. AJ Allmendinger, he's had such an incredible season and a diverse list of wins at all type of tracks. Austin Cindric, he's had another strong season as well. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna go with the driver, the number 22 Team Penske Ford Mustang. I think Austin Cindric is in the best position to defend his championship.
That's a strong pick, Cody. But for me, I'm going to have to go out and say that AJ Allmendinger, yes, the Dinger, brings it home for Matt Collick Racing Saturday night in the Valley of the Sun. He's been so successful in other forms of motorsports. Champ Car, sports cars with Mike Shank Racing, winning the Rolex 24 Hours of Daytona. And I think if he won the Xfinity Series Championship Saturday night, it'd be a huge accomplishment for him, Matt Collig Racing, his crew chief Chris Rice, and overall, I think you mentioned it, Kobe. It'd be parties over at Matt Collig Racing. So I'm going with the Dinger, AJ Allmendinger, to win the 2021 NASCAR Xfinity Series Championship time. And now I'll hand it back to Colby as we wrap up another show of Grid Tonight.
Yeah, another episode of Grid Tonight in the books. And before I go, I want to remind all of our viewers out there, please share in the comment section below, who do you think is going to win the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series and Xfinity Series Championships? And if you get it right, you'll join our Pick a Winner leaderboard. And also be sure to give your pick for race 1 of the Repco Supercars Championship at Sydney Motorsports Park for the very first race of the weekend. Also, please like and subscribe to Grid Network here on YouTube. Also, you can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. I encourage you to visit us on Patreon, Invest in Grid Network. Thank you, Colin, Mark, Deshelle, and Robin for supporting us. We greatly appreciate you for doing this. Be sure to check out Paw Bless. Please consider spoiling your furry friend. They have dog leashes, clothing, and accessories for dogs of all sizes. 10% of your purchase goes towards helping homeless, sick, and rescued dogs. Please visit public.com, the stock market social media home. The link below and referral code gives you $5 to invest immediately. Public.com will allow you to connect with your friends. You can make new friends and use tools to learn how to properly invest in the stock market. On Thursday morning, we have a new episode of the Women Racing to Win. Saturday, we're back on the air for Grid Live pre-race. Be sure to catch our NASCAR Cup Series Championship 4 preview show. And then Sunday, on the air once again, Grid Live wrap-up, 90 minutes after we crown the 2021 NASCAR Cup Series champion. Ready for Championship Sunday is definitely going to be an interesting day for 4 drivers trying to win that Cup Championship. For Adam Lemerise, I'm Kobe Lambeth from the Podium Finish. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Don't be an anonymous investor. Join the stock market social media platform, public.com. Invest any amount of money and share with friends and new friends. Discover new opportunities, such as new companies and potential business partners, and useful tools for beginners, and share your experience with friends on public.com. Link in the video description gets you $5 for being a Grid Network viewer. Use the referral code GRIDnet for your free $5 to invest and start investing and networking on public.com.